Andrew, thanks for joining us once again to talk about church planter questions. And the one we have today is really all about assessment. Before I get into it, let me just ask you your opinion of church planting assessment. Is it something that you would recommend for every church planter?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Church planting by its nature is a very costly exercise. It's costly for the Christian community as we fund new churches, as people connect up as core group members of a new church. To be involved in that kind of work, which may not actually succeed, is a very costly thing. We want to actually make sure with a limited Christian resource we apply it as best we can. But most importantly, the planting family, it's costly to them. So if they go into a task of planting a church which struggles and staggers, consumes them, consumes the kids, the families all, and they have some years at that, it really is quite a cost, and we want to limit that as much as possible. We don't have much resource. We want to apply it as best we can across the Christian world.
Now, everybody who has gone through church planting assessment that I've spoken to has talked about it as a very rigorous process, particularly with Geneva Push. It's not a pushover. It's quite a simple process, but quite detailed. So yeah. It involves lots of sort of things. I guess there's a lot of heightened expectation then. What happens, and this is the question that's been sent in, what happens if you fail? What happens if you get a negative assessment? Does that mean give up, or what does that mean?
Yeah, first thing is we don't ever talk about failing. It's not a test that you fail. It's rather a recommendation about where best to use your gifts. And because it is so costly, that's an important thing to take into account. I mean, in one sense, whatever a person does, they can choose to not take any notice of an assessment. We're not making someone not do a plant. The Christian world, under God, by the Spirit, you're free to go and do what you like. And it's lovely. There's no organisation saying you can or can't. But because it is costly, you want to think carefully about whether this is the best place to invest my resource and efforts and energies for the next 5 to 10 years. And to have a group of experienced planters talk to you about whether you are suitable for that or not is a really helpful process.
And some of the recommendations that come back from Geneva Push, for example, aren't just yes or no, but are often gradated too. So even a negative thing might not be negative for all time.
Yeah, sometimes we'll assess that we think there's potential, but just not now. So come back again. Often guys are, still developing their ministry mind, still developing their gifts and skills. Their marriage is new. All kinds of things might be reasons why we'd say, look, right now is not the time to do it. Come back in a couple of years' time. There are other occasions where we give conditions that we think ought to be met before you're really in a good place to start a plant. And it's not always simply we don't think so that you ought to do it. There are all kinds of other ways to engage in it.
So a negative assessment could not just be no, it could be a sharpening, of not only your focus but what you might need.
One of the great things about the assessments we're doing is that it's providing an opportunity for a couple of people, experienced planters, to consult into your life. So it's actually very powerful to have not just someone, not to think in terms of will they give permission or not. It's not a job interview. It's not you've got the job or not. It's rather, let me share with someone who knows about this particular area of work. How can they speak into, do I need to work harder at my evangelistic work? Do I need to work harder at my plan and program for how I might reach a community? And so to have a bunch of guys consult with you on that is powerful. And so we get a lot of couples go away having had some areas of weakness identified in a friendly environment where they actually invest time working on that. They come back with a much better place and they're able to plant in a much more effective way. Powerful.
Mate, that's excellent. Thanks very much for going through us, and I guess we'll save it till the next one. In a moment, we'll put up an email address for people who want to send extra questions in. See you next time.